America is supposed to be the world's sole superpower, the indispensable nation, the anchor of global stability. Instead, the United States faces more severe threats to its security in 2026 than at any point since the Cold War ended. According to the Council on Foreign Relations, armed conflicts globally are at their highest level since World War II. But here's the twist. Eurasia Group's 2026 risk assessment ranks the United States itself as the principal source of global risk this year. Not China, not Russia, America. Let's start with the most immediate danger. North Korea was supposed to denuclearize after the Trump-Kim summit in 2018. Instead, Pyongyang now possesses enough fissile material for up to 90 nuclear warheads, with approximately 50 already assembled according to non-governmental experts. And they're not stopping there. The Defense Intelligence Agency reported that North Korea could possess 50 intercontinental ballistic missiles by 2035. But here's what should terrify defense planners. They currently have 10 or fewer ICBMs right now, and every single one can reach the entire continental United States. The newest threat is the Hwasong-20, unveiled in October 2025. With a range exceeding 15,000 kilometers, 9,320 miles, this solid-fuel ICBM represents a quantum leap. At 28 meters long, it's the largest operational road-mobile ICBM in the world, delivering 40% more thrust than North Korea's previous generation. What this means is survivability. Liquid-fueled missiles require hours of preparation. Solid-fuel missiles launch within minutes from unpredictable locations. American missile defense consists of just 64 interceptor silos designed to engage 4 interceptors per warhead. As nuclear analyst Ankit Panda testified to Congress, North Korea's path to saturating the entire system is eminently achievable. South Korean President Lee Jae-myung warned in September 2025 that North Korea will add 15 to 20 nuclear warheads annually if the status quo continues. The nightmare scenario? Export becomes possible. According to US Forces Korea testimony, Russia is sharing space, nuclear and missile technology with North Korea in exchange for artillery and troops for Ukraine. Yet analysts at The Diplomat predict Pyongyang will suppress major provocations until after President Trump's April 2026 Beijing summit, holding out for high-stakes negotiations. The quiet isn't peace, it's preparation. If North Korea represents a matured nuclear threat, Iran represents an imminent one accelerating toward the point of no return. The 2015 nuclear deal was designed to keep Iran 1 year away from bomb-grade uranium. That timeline has collapsed. According to the Defense Intelligence Agency's May 2025 assessment, Iran would need probably less than 1 week to produce enough highly enriched uranium for one nuclear weapon. 7 days, from decision to bomb-grade material. A November 2024 Office of the Director of National Intelligence report stated, Iran has enough fissile material that, if further enriched, would be sufficient for more than a dozen nuclear weapons. The International Atomic Energy Agency confirmed Iran's enriched uranium stockpile is 22 times over the 2015 limit. Iran is the only non-nuclear weapon state producing uranium enriched to 60%, one step below the 90% weapons threshold. In late 2024, Iran notified inspectors it plans to install 32 additional cascades of centrifuges, jumping monthly production at the Fordo facility from 4.7 kilograms to 37 kilograms. Fordo is deeply buried, far more challenging to destroy than surface installations. The verification architecture has crumbled. Since February 2021, Iran halted daily IAEA access to key facilities and suspended design information requirements. The IAEA can no longer provide assurance that materials haven't been diverted to covert programs. According to the Center for Strategic and International Studies, Iran's breakout timeline has shrunk from 12 months to just weeks. The knowledge gained operating advanced IR-6 and IR-8 centrifuges, which enrich 3 to 5 times faster than older models, cannot be erased. The crisis escalated dramatically in June 2025, after the IAEA found Iran non-compliant. For the first time in 20 years, Israel launched strikes on June 13th, targeting Natanz and other nuclear sites. The United States followed with strikes on June 21st to 22nd against Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan. But military strikes delay, they don't eliminate. Facilities can be rebuilt, and each attack strengthens hardliners who argue only a deliverable nuclear weapon guarantees survival. Both nuclear challenges exist within a systemic crisis, the complete collapse of global nuclear arms control. The new Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty, the last remaining nuclear agreement between the United States and Russia, expires in February 2026. This treaty limits deployed strategic warheads to 1,550 per country. Without it, according to the Federation of American Scientists, deployed warheads could top 6,000 within a decade. China is on track to possess 1,500 warheads by 2035. The Council on Foreign Relations warns that without treaty constraints, both superpowers might deploy nuclear weapons currently in stockpiles for prompt use. Any additional deployments could encourage China to enhance its forces, making nuclear use more probable and increasing accident risks. This vacuum creates cascading proliferation. According to the Center for Naval Analyses, more countries openly discuss the nuclear option than ever. Saudi Arabia struck a security agreement with Pakistan that may include extended deterrence. A majority in South Korea favors building its own nuclear arsenal. Sentiment is increasing in Japan and Poland. The lesson of Ukrainian vulnerability versus nuclear-armed North Korea's safety is plain. The Stimson Center notes a world where 4 or 5 additional nuclear powers emerge is exponentially more dangerous. Each new nuclear state increases the probability of terrorism, accidents, and miscalculation. The United States faces a choice in 2026. Invest diplomatic capital negotiating new frameworks including China, or accept a multipolar nuclear world with no governing architecture. We're heading toward the second option by default. While America focuses on military threats, China is winning a technological competition that will determine which nation shapes the 21st century. Eurasia Group identifies China's transformation into the world's first electrostate as the second highest geopolitical risk for 2026. The defining technologies of this century: electric vehicles, drones, robots, batteries, artificial intelligence, run on electrons. China has mastered this electric stack. The United States is ceding it. According to the Council on Foreign Relations, China demonstrated near total control over critical minerals and rare earth elements in 2025. Under export controls rolled out in October 2025, Beijing showed its ability to restrict global access to minerals and processing technologies. China controls approximately 80% of global rare earth refining and over 60% of lithium processing. Global tech companies invested more than $400 billion in data centers in 2024, projected to reach $1.1 trillion by 2029. But much of that infrastructure depends on components and supply chains dominated by Chinese firms. While Washington asks countries to buy 20th century energy, oil, natural gas, coal, Beijing offers 21st century infrastructure at competitive prices. Emerging markets favor China's offering because of economics and capability. The Belt and Road Initiative was the opening move. The electrostate strategy is the endgame. Time magazine notes that countries building critical infrastructure on Chinese technology become dependent on Beijing for maintenance, upgrades, and access. This creates leverage lasting decades. The Department of Defense understands this threat, but responses remain fragmented. The CHIPS Act attempts to reshore semiconductors. Export controls limit China's chip access. But these are defensive measures. China's advantage compounds daily through infrastructure already deployed and expertise already accumulated. Let's zoom out and confront the most destabilizing factor: the erosion of America's own political system. Eurasia Group ranks the US political revolution as the #1 global risk for 2026. Not China, not Russia, America itself. According to their assessment, what began as tactical norm-breaking has become system-level transformation, with attempts to systematically dismantle checks on executive power. The Council on Foreign Relations 2026 survey highlights growing political violence and popular unrest as a high likelihood, high impact contingency. The trajectory is worsening. Allies question American credibility when domestic politics swing wildly every 4 years. The Center for Naval Analyses notes profound uncertainty about America's global role. In 2025, the administration carried out strikes in Yemen, Somalia, Iran, Iraq, Syria, the Pacific, Caribbean, and Nigeria, while threatening Venezuela, Mexico, and Colombia. The contradiction between President of Peace rhetoric and action creates global confusion. Foreign aid tells a stark story. The United States provided $63.3 billion in 2024. For fiscal 2026, funding stands at $28.5 billion, with estimates as low as $8.1 billion. More than 350,000 deaths have been attributed to aid cuts since January 2026. The National Security Strategy released in early 2025 makes this official. The days of the United States propping up the entire world order like Atlas are over. Time magazine notes the old rules-based architecture is decomposing, power is diffusing, and the world is searching for new models. Can allies count on American security guarantees when politics might reverse course? Can adversaries predict American responses? The answer increasingly appears to be no on both counts. So the United States enters 2026 facing nuclear threats that could reach the homeland in under 7 days from Iran or 30 minutes from North Korea. America confronts the complete absence of nuclear arms control for the first time in half a century. China is building the infrastructure foundations for the next century, while the United States debates whether to compete. And American democracy itself faces internal pressures undermining credibility with allies. After examining North Korea's 50 ICBMs by 2035, Iran's week-long breakout timeline, the 6,000 deployed warheads possible without treaty limits, China's electrostate dominance over critical minerals, and America's political revolution, we can see these aren't isolated challenges. They're interconnected symptoms of a broader transformation, the unraveling of American primacy and the rules-based order it sustained. This matters because America's security for 75 years rested on nuclear deterrence, alliance networks, technological superiority, and domestic political stability. In 2026, all 4 pillars are cracking simultaneously. The question isn't whether America faces serious geopolitical threats. The question is whether American institutions can mount coherent responses while confronting internal divisions. The United States has navigated comparable inflection points before. The Cold War standoff, post-Vietnam crisis, post-9/11 wars. Each time, American resilience prevailed. But 2026 represents something different. Threats from adversaries exploiting American distraction, allies questioning American commitment, and Americans questioning each other. What do you think? Can the United States address these 5 threats simultaneously, or will prioritizing one mean neglecting others? Do you believe domestic stability is a precondition for addressing external threats? Make sure to subscribe for more geopolitical analysis, in-depth strategic assessments, and breaking developments from the fault lines of international security. Because in 2026, understanding these threats isn't just academic, it's essential.